Hi, my name is Colette Rabba, and I'm with Orion Realty. I'm a residential real estate broker in the GTA West, an income property specialist, and an investor myself. The reason why Araceli and I like to do this show is because we're both investors and we love to give great information to viewers and listeners just like you.
Welcome everyone. This is Araceli, Transition Wealth Advisor and Real Estate Investor in the US and Canada. And my weekly call with Colette today, we have a really fun subject that we're going to talk about. So Colette, can you introduce yourself and tell us what we're talking about today?
Yes, of course. Hi everybody, my name is Colette Rabba. I am a residential real estate broker in the GTA West. I like to do the West End. I'm a West End girl. Araceli is as well, but she's a little bit easier to travel, so she travels better than I do. Anyway, so today we're talking about something that is very important, not just when you list your house, but all the time and as you're living in the house. And it's on our minds because it's spring and we love to go outside and do a little bit of work. So we want you to go outside, not right now, after the show, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and look at your curb appeal, because it's important not just when you sell, but for you to enjoy. I always want my buyers to drive up to their house and go, oh my gosh, I get to live here. I love this. It's beautiful. That's your first impression.
Absolutely. It's like going on a date for the first time, right?
That's right. That's right. If my hair is not done, if my, I look disheveled, and like that's a very good example, because you really want to, when people come over too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the curb appeal, I just want to mention that it is not gardening, so it's different, but it could be part of it, okay? And as Colette mentioned, don't let it be don't leave it for the very last minute, especially if you're planning to sell, or maybe you already have decided when you purchase this property, I'm going to be selling in 2 years or 3 years because of work commitments, because you already know that this is your starter home, everything else. So you have time, in advance to plan your curb appeal. And curb appeal is not only what's outside, but how the house looks as well. So you have a presentation, right?
I just have a couple pictures to share. So the other thing too that I want to say, when it comes to, let's say I'm going with buyers, and we look at the front of the house. You don't think the person that lives there has the same respect for the inside of the house as they do the outside of the house. So when you see things are disheveled, there is a whole bunch of piles of things outside, toys are strewn, not to say just toys, but, let's say there's things that are left on the lawn that really are not there for a reason.
Yeah.
The stairs, let's say the stairs are sinking, and 100% I believe that houses get overwhelming for a lot of people because they age, and you're not expecting to be an expert in knowing how to do everything yourself, but you also need to expect to understand that things might not stay exactly the way they are, even with a new build.
Yeah.
So new subdivisions, things settle, the ground around the area around your house, things will settle. You'll see your driveway will settle. A lot of builders don't do a driveway right away because they know the ground around the house still has to settle, and they don't want to do a driveway again after a year. So you might have to take a little bit of time to wait, but you can see the age of the house. If people don't maintain their house, you'll see it. You'll see it right away in the front of your house.
And things need to be maintained continuously. Sometimes, depending on the type of finish that you have in the house, you may either have to clean the brick, if you have brick, or the siding, or maybe paint it, or maybe redo it altogether. So over time, no matter what pretty thing you have in there, it's going to be worn out, and you're going to have to refinish it. So.
Right. But again, it's not only about gardening. So I have one example, and then I just put a little couple slides together, so I'm going to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see the difference, because even though, I don't know if you can see that, hold on a second. I'm going to make it big so everybody doesn't see all the nonsense in the background. But so this is a typical Canadian house, and I think I just took a picture while I was driving by. I really don't, oh, I remember why I took the picture now. Okay. It's because their roof is very interesting. So, crazy realtor, I do that. I drive around, I just take random pictures of houses, and I said, oh, I've never seen that before, or I need to explain this to someone. This is a different kind of roof. Let me explain it. But I digress. I'm not going to go through that with you. But really, this is a great example of how someone could improve their curb appeal very easily and very gently. We're not asking you to get a landscape architect and go crazy. There are a couple things, and the examples that I found, the next pictures, will show you how you can do this gradually as you live there. It doesn't have to be a big deal. So what I see here, what's the first thing that you see when you see this?
Well, it's a relatively new construction, so I can see that it's in good condition, the house. But yeah, definitely the front could be made a little bit pretty.
Okay. I think this house is, when you say new construction, are you talking like 80s? And
well,
like
newer construction. I'm talking about newer constructions because the house is in good shape. It's not falling apart. The roof is in good shape. So that's what I can see. I see the driveway. It looks that it needs a little bit of work.
Right. So that's an indication that the house is older than the driveway. So when I say older, I'm guessing the house is probably like built maybe in the 80s or the 90s, but not knowing anything and not remembering the area. But that doesn't matter. It's about that the house has been well kept. The siding looks new, and the roof looks new. So somebody is doing good maintenance on this house. So thumbs up for that. They get points for that. But what I see is that they're used to, like, I don't know if I can zoom in, but at the front where the pickets are, those look newer as well because they're higher. Yeah. And it's kind of funny only because you don't really need pickets for that height. If you have one step, you really don't need a picket. But let's like a rail. But let's just say they have little kids and they wanted to have a defined little space there. Maybe they're going to put chairs or something. So that's fine. The one thing that bothers me about this is that there are these funny little bricks in the front by the stairs.
Yeah.
So either it's maybe a border for a little garden, and the garden hasn't planted, which is fine. But also this big pile of something on the lawn. So I don't know what that is.
Maybe they're getting ready to redo some gardening or put a planter or something like that.
Exactly. So another thumbs up, hopefully. But when you go to sell, I don't want to see that big pile of whatever it is, because then to buyers it says, oh, something's wrong. Why is there a big pile of dirt?
Yeah, of course.
Right? So you want to get rid of that. So let's just pretend these people are going to not sell their house.
Yeah.
Okay. But they have the big pile of dirt. They want some suggestions on what to do to their front of the house to really up the curb appeal. Personally, I think the front door could stand out a little bit. It could be a little bit bolder.
Yeah, I like really bright colors for the front door. That's my personal.
100%, I agree. Pick something that, again, inside and outside should reflect. So if your decor shows that you have a lot of blues, for example, paint your door. It doesn't have to be a bright blue. It could be a navy or it could be a darker blue. But something like that. Always keep your interiors and exteriors somewhat similar.
And it's similar, yeah.
Yeah, if you can. So this is my example. I know it looks crazy, but what I really liked about this photo, and of course there's tons of, garden and a lot of landscaping. So if you just take away the front part of, with this beautiful cherry tree, I'm not sure if it's a cherry tree or a crab apple or something. If you just look at the railing, so we'll go back and obviously it's a different color, but look at the front door, the little bit of color that we can see at that front door. Isn't that inviting?
Yeah.
And to stand out, to say, come in, come on in, The other thing I love about this picture, and you'll see in the other pictures as well, there is a path. There is a clear, defined path. There really is no. So you're telling people, don't step on my grass and don't come in. So obviously I want to say, no, please come in. Here is the path. And even to border, have a little border on the side of the driveway to define the driveway and the walkway. You could do beautiful landscaping here. Really, you have so much front lawn, it's incredible. You could do something this fancy to do some boxwoods and to have some really big gardens and just completely get rid of your grass totally if you want that. You don't have to, but imagine these little planter boxes at the front. How cute would that be? And even to have little pots along the way too. Obviously a very different house, but why not? I can absolutely see this having a little bit of inspiration from this.
Yeah,
right? A little inspiration. This is another little example, and you can see the houses are all a little bit different. This by all means is not a grandiose home like this, the second one. But it still has those elements of a front rail. You have a porch that is low to the ground. Look at the color of the door. So really use your imagination. It's beige like the first house as well. Look at the color of the front door. It's got a path. So we're not saying go crazy. This is pea gravel. It's not going to break the bank. You can do something very gentle. This is not like crazy. Even the trees, the shrubbery in the front is not trimmed, and you know there's no topiary kind of thing. It's a very gentle, nice, come on in, here's a path, come to my house, right? The trim is beautiful, it's very clean. That's the one trick.
I think the clear path to the door probably is the biggest thing for me that I look for when I look at houses. And as soon as you have a really nice path and a nice front door, the rest of it could be like, you can even put just grass. Don't worry too much about bushes, but if you like a little bit of gardening, that could put appeal. In this particular house, I would maybe put a little flowers so there's a little bit more color. Right. But other than that, it's pretty simple and
and see how
nicely
the house. Just like the first house, the house itself is very neutral in color. You could really pick any door color. Like look at the color of my shirt. To have like a really vibrant color on the front, if you can handle a yellow or a blue or a pink, like don't be afraid. And you can always get a little swatch from the paint store. Just stick it up there with a piece of tape and get used to the color story if you like it or not. And then like bring those colors into the house too. So if you want a bright pink, you do the color in the door, you do the color in the flowers. It can all make sense and it looks really, really sharp. So, and honestly, don't be afraid of landscaping. I have never been a gardener, but the few things that I always ask when I go to the garden center is like, how much maintenance is this going to take? And if it's 0, then I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. So really, you have to know, I don't have to spend a lot of time trimming everything and really making everything perfect and the height of things. I get all messed up and flustered when people say, okay, well, this is going to grow to, 5 feet, and then you want to put something underneath and it's going to be shorter, and then this and that. I can't even do that. I can't even do that. So to me, clean, something simple, color, like you said. We have a very short season in Ontario, but at least we have a short season and not 0 season. So to bring color in now, it's so important to somebody like me that I don't really like the winter. But even something like this, and I really like this picture because
that's really cute.
You can never see people's numbers, the house numbers. So just to build a little box like this, you can actually buy this box, or you can, if you're handy. This is our project, you and I. I want one of these. Let's do it.
Yeah, this is beautiful. And it's really simple to make. So yeah, you actually have a really good point, Colette, on the number. Make sure that you have a large number that is very visual. I've gone to people's houses and I cannot find the number anywhere because it's so tiny and it's right against the wall and it's far away. So when you're driving, you can't see the number.
And you know what else too? We have things called solar lights these days.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need any electrical work. It doesn't need anything fancy. All you need is to buy that little solar light. They go on special all the time. And just imagine in this little sign that it's just tacked up to the top. It's screwed into the back, and it actually lights up.
And it will shine.
Yeah, at night. So, you know, I want my pizza. You better find my house.
Of course.
That's enough reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, some houses are easy to spot because the number, you have a house that has a big number and right beside is your house. So even though your house doesn't have a number, you can find it. But in some other areas, you can't find the number anywhere.
Right, just like this White House. So I just wanted to have a couple more pictures because the color, what you were saying about the color and no color. So I thought these two pictures are really interesting. So obviously the style is a little bit different, but they still have that little gable roof in front and a little porch with the railing. And then this is what I was talking about without a railing. So it's really low to the ground, but it's wider, obviously. So that first house, I don't know if you want me to go to it, that first house, you can extend that porch all the way to that front window. It doesn't have to stop at the window. So really, I really like this picture, the White House, because it shows nice, wide, open, and they both have the walkway.
Yeah, exactly.
So I love that. You don't have to go fancy. Even the picture with all the colors and the flowers, this is really simple gardening. It's not, you know, a lot of you know, special planting and the heights and things that I was talking about. This is just, you know, going to Home Depot or whatever your garden center and buying some flowers and putting them out and just having this beautiful color and welcoming point of your, like, imagine how cute that house, I can just imagine how cute it is inside, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I really like it. It's very clean. And I like the idea of extending the porch because then you can have a little sitting area.
Right.
So that is very cute, and you know, no railing. I love it. It's good.
Yeah, and even the White House too, even though there's not a lot of color, you can add that. You can add some more shrubbery. Maybe this is a new build where they really just didn't have time to do all the plantings. But it's also, they put down mulch, so you don't have to have the grass. You don't have to go crazy and, you know, keep up with the Joneses and have perfect grass. Like, my neighbors drive me crazy because their grass is so nice, and I'm like, I don't know how to do that. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just put mulch down and forget it and have it all a garden. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it's better to do it that way, and especially if you are going to have a rental property. It doesn't have to be blah, right? But I usually try to pick something that either has just rocks outside, but at least it looks clean and you don't have to maintain it, because you don't know, sometimes you get lucky and your neighbor or your tenant likes to garden. But if they don't, maybe they're older, that they just don't have the energy to do it, it's going to be more work for you to continue to maintain that property, and instead just put something that is easy to maintain. Just simple. Not too much to it.
I have two little tips too to make your life easier. Maybe. Number one, that sign with the number on it. The one tip that I can say is things like that can hide things. So if you have a hose, if you have shovels, if you have little baskets that are, you know, the flower over the winter and you want to hide them somewhere, you don't need to leave them out front. You can hide them behind, either on the side if you don't have a garage. Take them out of view of your front curb appeal and just hide them. So signs are really good for hiding, you know, we all have stuff. We all have little, you know, spades and things like that we want to hide. And the second thing is, if you have interlocking, there is a seal that you can put on the interlocking to really make it look better and to not have the weeds come through in the little spaces. So if you go to your regular hardware store, they should be able to give you some, you know, I think it can't rain for a couple days, but then you can easily put this seal on over the interlocking for it to age better. So make sure you do that when you get it. But that's it.
Absolutely. So this is simple, but I think it is very important because it's the very first thing that people will see. So just make it easier. if you know that you're going to be selling, and also easier for you to have a really nice property to enjoy.
Yeah, and welcome your guests. We've been in COVID for so long. We
I
really
know.
welcome people. Come over.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just
That's awesome.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, Colette, for putting the pictures together. I think that this is a little bit fun episode, so you can go ahead and do a little bit of gardening and things like that. So.
Get your hands dirty. Come on, let's go.
I know.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Colette, and we'll see you next time.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more information or if you have any questions, please go to my website at www.coletterabba.com.